Hello, and welcome back to the Misfit Business Lounge podcast. This is my second intro because I clicked a button wrong, distracted myself, and then went into an absolute frenzy. However, we are joined by the beautiful Jennifer today, and I'm really excited for today's session because we're going to be learning about our emotional root cause and where our body holds onto tension and emotions and creates physical symptoms. Now, as somebody who's always seen the human body as a reflection of what we're going through emotionally, I am so excited by this session. I obviously come from the massage therapy space. Reflexology always fascinated me, the way that we can understand what's going in the body from our feet. I've always been really strongly in tune with how our body kind of holds energy. But I am fascinated by Jennifer's work and the way that she guides people through a journey of physical healing, mental healing, energetic healing by helping them address their emotional root cause. Now, Jennifer, can you begin by just telling me a little bit about you, who you are, and what it is that you bring to the surface for your clients?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. And a bit about me. I in 2015, I had my only 9 to 5 ever. And I was working as the managing editor of 22 newspapers, and it was a lot of fun, and I had great chances and opportunities, but it wasn't really fulfilling me because there wasn't any purpose or fulfillment behind the role that I had. And so my personal life also got affected by this, and I made really stupid decisions with guys and alcohol. And then my friend was like, "Hey, you should go to my hypnotherapist." And I was like, I wonder what that is. I'm not sure what that is, but I will go, I will give it a try. And then I actually went to a session and it was in the evening. I remember that. And the only thing I remember then is that she made me put all my negative things into a hot air balloon and made it fly off. I was like, okay, let's see what it does, right? And then I went home, I went to sleep. The next morning, I wake up at like 5:30 in the morning or at 5 o'clock, and I had made the decision to quit my job completely and to travel the world after only a single hypnotherapy session. And that's when I was like, holy crap, this is powerful. So ever since then, I've used hypnosis to actually help me with a bunch of things. For example, with the relationship with my mother, with business, with men as well. It helped me manifest my dream partner and so many more things. And then I actually discovered through hypnosis, I went on a journey and I got to know all the things that you could do with hypnosis, like past life channeling, all of that. And then when I saw what kind of successes clients had when it comes to their bodies after a single session, I was mind blown. For example, one of my clients, she had 50 years of physical tension holding in her body. After a single session of finding that emotional root cause that had to do with her father was completely gone. The tension was completely
Wow.
gone. Then another session I did recently with a client where she had back pain for 12 months. Found the emotional root cause, which we both didn't think, that it was going to come up like, or we weren't sure what was going to come up. Let's put it that way. And then she knew about her problem, but she never had connected it in a way where how we did it in a hypnosis session. After a single session, back pain was gone. And then I helped somebody with endometriosis symptoms. Like she had PMS symptoms, she had really heavy period pains. She didn't like her body and her womb. A single session, that was completely gone. Like she's almost pain-free, so much so that she went partying on the first day of her period. Like it's mind-blowing how our minds and our bodies are connected and the emotions that have been stuck for years or decades or even like 50 years, how they can influence our lives today.
Amazing. And this is honestly so fascinating because I'm somebody who has endometriosis. I've had 3 surgeries. And since having children, I've kind of self like healed the journey. I feel like I don't have as many flare-ups inside of my womb. I don't have as many increased like cramps on my menstrual cycle. But I feel like a lot of it was actually my fear around like family life and that sense of security. From a young age, I'd always wanted that family life. And I feel like I wanted to repair maybe what my parents didn't have. And so I feel like I was already thinking about motherhood from a young age. And I actually made the journey feel so intense that it created all of these symptoms and these hormonal imbalances. And then the scar tissue that was created around intimacy from different situations that I've been through, that also kind of played a huge part. And once I started to learn about what I was holding on to, memories from childhood, issues with the masculine authority figures inside of my life, and I was able to let go of that, I have definitely seen an increase in how potent my bleed now feels in regards to I can shed, I can release, because I feel like we're meant to have potent cycles as women without the stress and the chaos. But if I am stressed or I'm going through something internally, those symptoms flare straight back up. And I actually had this last month as I've been going through like a health journey and I've been purging. I'm kind of coming back to feeling more grounded like myself. But it was interesting because I suspected some fear in regard to this next lot of test results that I'm getting. And instantly I had like a 2 day bleed. Then I stopped and then I had another 2 day bleed. And it's like that is the impact that stress has on the body. That is the way that our body responds when we're fearful about something. Now, how do you take people through a journey of finding what it is that's holding them back? Is it a hypnotherapy journey? Does it use different modalities? Talk us through a little bit about that.
So I am trained in different modalities and I kind of mix and match them. But usually for a session like this with finding the emotional root cause, it's a hypnotherapy session. So all that means is I relax your body and then your mind. And then I give you a visualization to walk through that will take you to your emotional root cause. And some people feel something, other people see a situation from childhood, other people may hear some words. So it looks different for everybody. And I never know what's coming up, which is the beautiful thing about my job. It never gets boring. But then we can work through the root cause together and we can extract the energy that is related to everything that has happened in the past or everything that they're feeling right now. So we take that away, we release all of that. And then once this is gone, we go into the future and we see, okay, what kind of steps do you need to get to be your future self? Like, do you need to, adjust your nutrition, your exercise? Do you need to adjust your stress levels? Do you need to maybe adjust your career or your job in some kind of ways? And whatever it is that the person needs, and it's completely customized to the person that is in front of me because no person has been through the same thing, obviously. So it's a very, very individual journey that I take each client through, and sessions are about 90 minutes long.
Ooh, I love this. And you truly are an example of somebody who's living their best life. I love watching you going and exploring the world, traveling, running your career, feeling connected with your body. And I can see the journey that you're going down holistically to serve yourself and provide yourself with those values of expansion and freedom. Now, do you feel like you were in a specific frame of mind when you decided to start changing and transforming your life and you went to your first hypnotherapy session? And the reason why I ask this, I think it's really easy to want to change, right? And I speak to a lot of people who want change. They want more money, they want to build their business, they want to expand their relationship with spirit. But that want isn't always enough for them to actually start to create shifts in their body. And so I'm intrigued, like, where were you energetically when you actually started to go down this journey?
That's a great question. So I was in a space where I did, like I said, I made bad decisions for my body with alcohol and with men. So there were a few situations where I really put my body into danger, where I was getting sick, where I was in situations that I shouldn't have been and that were completely jeopardizing my health and my life even. So I was like, okay, this is not what I want. I want this, I want a different life. So it's not I want to change, but it's like I cannot keep going like this because otherwise I'll end up like God knows where, right? So it was more like I want something else. I want a different life. And ever since I've been on this journey, I've been on a journey for the mind at first, I would say, because with hypnosis I did a lot of mind work. And within recent years, I've healed myself from tuberculosis because it's a yeah, it's an illness that is not very common in Europe, but it's common where I travel to. And so it was a long journey, and I started with Western medicine, taking antibiotics, but then I actually realized that there's still phlegm left, there's still coughing left. So once I actually healed the emotional root cause of the tuberculosis, which was a former relationship that I had like 3 years prior to that, where I never expressed how I really felt or expressed my needs, what I wanted, I never did that. Once I explored that, the cough went away, the phlegm went away. It was really mind blowing. And ever since then, I've been on a health journey. I try to really work out. I try to be in my body more with breath work and with dancing. I dance a lot. So it's just been an amazing journey because I really get to feel my body now. And now when I'm sick, I'm like, okay, what's the emotional root cause? Let's look behind, what is behind the cough or whatever. And I realized that I have not been severely sick within the recent years because I really listened to my body and my emotions, and it's been beautiful. It's really improved my life.
Absolutely. And when you're speaking about the emotional root cause, because there'll be some people here that get that, but there'll be some people here that maybe don't understand what we're speaking about. So, an emotional root cause, like what is that? How does that affect the body? Where does it start from? Could you explain a little bit about that process to us?
Yes, absolutely. So, an emotional root cause is basically an emotion that got trapped in your body when an event happened. And I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you are at a corner of the street and you get robbed. And right then and there, you are afraid, your body tenses, your body's like, oh, fuck, what is happening? Like you get really afraid. And then because you are robbed and because you're not thinking about how to release the emotion right now, but you're thinking about your own survival, your emotions get trapped in your body. And so whenever you go to the street corner, you will be reminded of that robbery. You'll be reminded of the by smells maybe, or by being at the street corner by something else. And then your body is acting in a certain way. But you're like, I don't know what this is or where this comes from because you've never worked through it. Or something with our parents happened. Let me take an example from a client that I had. Um, she went back to her emotional root cause with the one with the tension, where she had tension in her body for 50 years. It was a situation with her father who was telling her something that made her feel really, really bad. And she never got to express that emotion, neither to her father nor to anyone else. She never worked with the emotion. So the emotion got stuck in the body. And whenever emotion gets stuck in the body, it causes illness, chronic illness, autoimmune diseases, it causes pain. And it's all about every single part of our bodies responds to or corresponds to an emotion. And it also corresponds to either to the female side or to the male side, for example. So, for example, cancer. Cancer is always repressed anger. It's literally you've been having repressed anger and your cells are just binding together and they're not you're not releasing it, so it stays in your body, right? It's always repressed anger. Or for example, grief in your heart. So many people who grieve their partners that have died or their children that have died, they die of heart diseases, heart attacks, heart whatever. Um, Financial fear or fear for your relationship or fear and worry, where do you feel that? Most likely in your stomach, because worry and fear is associated with the stomach. So every single body part has a related emotion. And then the emotional root cause, though, is different for everybody, again, because everyone has been through different situations.
And I truly do believe that, when we're taking ourselves through an emotional journey, we're in stress, we're in chaos, we're in fear, like we know the toll that that has on us, even from like lack of sleep, insomnia, like going through a bad digestive tract, like all of those things is so evident how our emotions affect us. But I feel like it's such a hard topic, and not everybody is ready to have this conversation. Not everybody is ready to choose this reality. And I watched an incredible documentary on Netflix last year called Heal, which is all about the impact of stress in our body. And it was saying how, a woman, she'd been diagnosed with cancer and she decided to heal herself and she did it. And the nurse and the doctor were like, there's no trace of cancer anywhere in your body. Again, a man who had had a spinal incident and he was waiting for surgery so he could walk again. He healed himself with his mind. He imagined he was performing that surgery on himself and he was able to walk before the date of the surgery. And I feel that just shows how powerful our bodies actually can be. Now, why do you feel people are so withdrawn from this conversation? Because me and you know, and we know how powerful it is, but I also witness that some people hearing that cancer is an emotional response, they're going to be like, I don't want to hear that. Like, I don't want to have that conversation.
So this is all about taking the responsibility. Nobody wants to hear that they're responsible for their own cancer. And then you have children with cancer, and then people always get triggered. They're like, well, my child didn't choose cancer, right? Well, maybe your child didn't choose it, but something happened to your child where it really had emotions that it didn't know how to get out and it didn't know how to release them. And so the cancer formed. So it's all about taking the responsibility for you having not, yeah, I want to say you having caused it because you didn't know how to release the emotions. You didn't know how to let go of whatever was happening at the time. It's not you're at fault. You just didn't know. And a lot of people think they're when they admit like, oh, I caused my cancer, then like, oh, this is my fault. It's not about fault, like fuck fault. It's not about that. It's really about like, I didn't know. But once you know that you have caused something with your emotions, you have the power to get rid of that. Because now you have the power to release the emotions, to release the emotional root cause, and to find the action steps that make you feel better. So, this is one thing. And a lot of people think, like, ooh, what if I go, like in hypnosis, what if I go back to a situation that I don't even remember or to a situation I don't want to remember? But what I want to say to them is that everything that your subconscious mind brings up is something that wants to be healed, is something that wants to get out of you, and it's something that wants to be released. It's not bothering you anymore. Our brains want us to thrive. They don't only want us to survive, they want us to thrive actually, and they want us to keep going, and they want to heal. They want to get rid of this shit. So a lot of people are always scared, like, oh, what if I see something or hear something that I don't want to? But no, it's really all about whatever you see during your healing journey is actually meant to come out, and you're actually meant to work through it. And you'll see once you do that, you'll feel better afterwards. You may feel, like crying or like really tense in the session, but then afterwards you're good and you feel good.
Yes, and I think we have to go through like it getting worse to get better. Like every time I've been on a healing journey, there's been something that I've had to process so that I can get to the level of the new identity. And without us walking through that chaos, how can we get to the internal peace? At the end of the day, if your body is disconnected, it's showing you something, it's screaming at you, and we have to walk that chaos. And I know firsthand that in different seasons, my body has gone through different things. And I look back even now to when I fell pregnant with Luna in 2019, first of all, we just gone like fully all into our business. Lewis had decided to quit his job. We were going to go traveling. We'd let go of our house. And I decided I was pregnant. And I ended up with hyperemesis. So I was in the hospital every 2 days on IV drips. Looking back now, it was stress. Looking back now, it was being in that position of how am I gonna run a business? How are we gonna do this? We've just let go of a house. We need to find a house. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on in our reality. And so my body was responding in a way of like, I need to process these emotions and I don't know what to do with it. And so there's so much evidence that that's what I was going through. And again, now as I've kind of ended breastfeeding and my body started doing all this crazy stuff, I know it was the grievance of ending breastfeeding. I know that I was going through so many emotions of there's this new chapter of motherhood. My children are no longer like dependent on me any longer. That brought up an instability in myself, which then triggered memories of different things that I'd been through in my life. And my body was like, oh, the hormones, they're everywhere now. We don't know what to do with these hormones. They're everywhere. They're going through all of the things. Now, I have a question because I know that you do a lot of past life work. Do you believe that we take on emotions not just from this lifetime, but from past lifetimes?
100,000%, absolutely. And it has been proven, the study is called epigenetics. So if you look into epigenetics, it'll show you that we are taking on trauma, we're taking on ancestral things that have happened for 8 up to 16 generations back.
Wow.
So every one of us carry shit from our ancestors within us. And that's like when we don't know, if so, okay, one example of that was I did a hypnosis session on a woman who was afraid of birds, and she didn't know where this was coming from, and she got an emotional response. She was like, "Oh my God, I'm so scared! I'm so scared!" And she didn't know where it was coming from because never had a bird done anything to her in this life. So we went back, did a past life regression, and it turned out that her corpse was eaten by birds in a past life.
Oh, wow.
So no wonder that she was afraid of birds, right?
Oh my gosh,
So
that takes me to I am petrified of cats. Like I have the biggest phobia of cats. And I know that cats are a very like mythical creature, but they petrify me to the point where if I'm stressed, I will dream of cats suffocating me. If I'm going through a process, I will dream of them sitting on my face and like literally stopping me from breathing. It's wild, but I wonder if it's a past life.
That could very, very well be. And a lot of people who are in the healing industry, a lot of us who are healers, light workers, and all of that, we, in the past life, we have been witches, we may have been healers in a past life. And back in the past, in 18th century, 19th century, it wasn't something that we would throw out there easily and be like, hey, I'm a witch, I can heal you. No, people were burned at the stake, and people were hurt, and people were shunned, and people were they had to escape. They had to, leave the place or the country or whatever. So a lot of us carry that within us because of our past lives. So it's past lives that we carry in us, and it's ancestral shit. It's both of that combined.
Yep.
And so working through these things, through these emotional root causes that come from the past lives is also very important, because then once we know, okay, we were a healer in a past life and then it wasn't safe, but now it's safe. It's still not completely safe. Like for me, what I'm doing, what I'm talking about, the pharma industry doesn't want me to do what I'm doing, right?
That's a
But
whole other problem.
exactly. But I am still safe in the sense of I can talk about it on social media and nobody will behead me or anything, right? So this is something we really need to learn, and we need to learn that we can express ourselves freely because it's safer than it was. Let's put it that way.
And I think we're too fast as a nation, a generation to lean into big pharma, right? Like we don't need these things. And when we look at steroid creams, that I've been watching a woman on social media at the minute who's going through a journey of coming off of steroid creams. Obviously, her symptoms are restarting because it's not a cure. Like the steroid cream is just a numbing to let go to make you think that you're healed, but you're not actually healed. And so now she's going through this journey of understanding what is at the root of this, like what is it that's actually triggering my body to respond in this way. And I just think there are so many things that we could do naturally. And even to the point of Calpol. Obviously, I was telling you that Freddie's got a fever and he's coughing at the minute. And we're trained as parents, when your kid has a fever, give them Calpol that is full of sugar, that is full of absolute crap, and really just like not always needed. And so like the other night we gave him some Calpol because it was fever was super high. Again, like it doesn't really cure the fever. It just makes you think that it's gone. And so he gets all of this energy that he doesn't really have. It's unnatural energy because of the sugars. And then the minute it wears off, he crashes again. And I always might remember my granddad saying that he would never take paracetamol because he was like, well, it's not going to cure me. It's just going to numb it for a little bit. And I think that is such a powerful way of thinking because ultimately we don't need these products. They're not designed to be digested by our body. And if we go back to those witchy seasons, women were absolute magic with herbal remedies and finding resources and knowing what to take to heal our bodies internally, stews, broths, like different things we can give ourselves to thrive. Do you ever think that we'll make a comeback to that? Because I feel like we're slowly edging that way.
Oh, we are. Thank God that we are.
Yes.
Because instead of masking things like all of these pharmaceutical things do, we're no longer masking things. We're actually going back to the way it was. We're like, okay, what natural supplements can I take? What's actually the root cause? And there's actually a secret society for people who know how to heal cancer, because cancer is not as deadly as everyone is made to believe.
It's a
This secret
moneymaker, right? It's a
Hmm?
moneymaker. The whole cancer
Exactly.
charity organizations, they're a moneymaker. They're never going to find a cure because they don't want to.
Exactly. And they know how, like, cancer can be healed with meditation, nutrition, and healing the emotional root cause. That's it, done. After 1 year, you have to be disciplined because it's harder to discipline yourself to do all of these things rather than taking a pill or going to chemo or whatever. These things are designed to be easier so that a lot of people do that rather. It's also same with the cream or with the paracetamol or something. It's designed to be easy. But when we actually choose, I don't want to say it's the hard way, but the way that is maybe a little more challenging because we have to look at ourselves and we have to take responsibility for ourselves. If we
Oh,
choose that way, we are going to be completely healed rather than falling back on the same thing, on the same thing, on the same thing all the time again, because we actually heal it at the root cause.
And if we look at cancer and the way that it changes our cells, anger has the same response in our cells. If you've never watched kind of a video of cells changing, I highly recommend anyone listening to this podcast goes and watches it because you'll see the effect that certain emotions have on cells and where it starts to almost redesign them and tweak them. When we look at cancer, what's happening is our cells are changing, they're not becoming as healthy. And so something has happened to change those cells and make them cancerous. And so, what is it that's happened? And I think this is a conversation that is only just touching the surface, but I truly do believe that we are going to go full circle within the next kind of 100 years back into our holistic roots and remembering who we are and what we can do to serve ourselves at the highest degree. Now, I want to touch on nutrition a little bit. And the reason being is I'm trying to educate myself a little bit more about this year. I'm trying to, spend time. I've set really strong boundaries now with like at the end of the day, 5 p.m., I clock off, no Voxer, no screen time. I spend my evenings reading. Like it's very rare that I'll kind of be in my business now on an evening and it's good for my soul. I'm thinking about the choices I'm making for food, buying more raw milks, thinking about buying buying meat from the farm shop and making sure that I'm making those educated choices. What is your opinion on nutrition? Because again, like I have strong opinions. We all know I'm opinionated, but I think there's so many easy ways to be lazy that we need to start like getting better, right? As a generation.
Nutrition for me is huge because everything that you see right here is what I eat. Like it's my skin, it's my eyes, it's my brain. Everything that goes into my body is what comes out. So it's really, really incredibly important. And nutrition can change a lot of things. And nutrition and healing, like emotional root cause healing combined, is like a major holy crap. Like this is going to change everybody's life. If people were more concerned with their nutrition and what they put into their bodies, the world would be a much better place.
Absolutely. So tell us how we can work with you. There's going to be a lot of people listening to this that are recognizing symptoms in their body from digestive issues to maybe asthma issues, breathing issues, memories that are triggering for their body. How do they get to work with you? Where can they find you? Tell us all of the details.
So you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and under my name. We can drop everything in the show notes, I'm sure. And then you can also always ask me for a link to the sessions, especially because I have a special on the emotional root cause right now. So you can just ask me for the link for these sessions. And I'm also on TikTok and Pinterest. So wherever I'm
A
there.
whole
And then you can also,
library of places.
exactly.
I'll drop everything in the link section down below so that anyone watching can go and find you and just be a part of your world. Because the thing that I love about you is your content is educating as well. It's not just a case of book a session with me and you find out all of the things. You are creating regular and consistent content that is educating your audience. And even if you're somebody who is maybe scared of addressing your chronic illness right now, or you've been brainwashed into thinking big pharma is the way forward, maybe just open your eyes to this content and just see how it makes you feel in the long run and in the process.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here, Jennifer. It's been an absolute blessing to have you. I love listening to everything that comes to the surface. And I just know that I myself even want to explore this a little bit further. So I know that this is going to land really well with our listeners.
Thank you so much for having me.